Welcome everybody to Wine and Spirits, where the tea is hot, the receipts are kept, and the spirits are occasionally alcoholic. I'm Maya Johnson.
And I am Gianni Olamide. And today we are talking about something digital, but also something deeply ancestral. And that's how the algorithm is shaping, stealing, and sometimes silencing Black culture.
Yeah. From viral dances to deleted creators, we're unpacking how these tech platforms profit off of our presence, our stories, our power, and while erasing everything that we've built essentially. So we're going to talk about Black content, cultural memory, and why the algorithm ain't our ancestor.
Period. So y'all ever been scrolling through TikTok and then you see a trend and go, wait, we've been doing that shit. Been doing it for years, right? Because most of the
Yeah.
time we have. And then the internet will take it and remix it without actually giving us credit. And my first thought is high fashion, right? Like it was a craze a few years ago. I don't know if it was Gucci, Chanel. Somebody came out with a $3,500 do rag, and they called it something else. I don't remember what they called it, but
I think that was
it
Gucci. I remember
okay.
that.
Yeah, it was supposed to be some some real luck shit all of a sudden. Right, and I'm like, boy, that look like the shit we can get right up the street at the beauty supply store for $3.99. You know what I'm saying? But now all of a sudden, because somebody put it on the wrong way, it's $3,500, or because Gucci slapped the name on it, right?
Yep.
So this quote unquote trendy, who has to release it to make it trendy? Who gives the credibility to what is and what isn't something that's in? And most of the times I think it's the people, because you can, I don't know, that was an example, but I'm like, most of the times, yeah, you see what's hot by what we normalize.
Yeah, by what we doing. It's we move the cultural needle. That's why I say oftentimes like American culture essentially is Black culture, right? It might be repackaged, you know what I'm saying, mixed in some more shit, but it's still us. And then on top of that, like the most glaring example of, this kind of like appropriating or repurposing and repackaging Black culture is AAVE. When they try to say that shit is Gen Z slang, don't nothing piss me off more than some random Chad using "gat" the wrong way. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Oh, Chile. Like, what are you doing? Or they call it like brain rot or whatever the case may be. And then people, and that's another thing I don't like, right? Because people will hear other people co-opt AAVE, African American Vernacular English, or the Ebonics, or whatever you want to call it. It's a legitimate dialect. However, people don't respect it because what happens is people who are not in the culture of the culture steal the language and then use it incorrectly, right? And because of that, I think unfortunately it waters down, you know what I'm saying? I guess the way we move through the world and how we speak to each other. Like language is important and it really means something. And so to just label it as something teenagers do because teenagers are dumb is mad disrespectful.
Yeah.
And another example was that renegade dance, Jalea
Before
Hartman.
you get, hold on, before you go to the renegade dance, I was about to say, as adults though, we call it code switching, double speak,
Okay.
and that is the acknowledgement of we can do this in private, right? But because it doesn't have that respectability, then when we go outside, then we need to use another. We need to use, what is it, SAE, Standard American English.
Right, right. Right. No, for sure. And code switching is a thing, but I also feel like it's gatekeeping because at this point we've already seen what happens when other people get a hold to our language anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So we have to gatekeep to a degree, and we got to stop that and stop letting them get it. You know what I'm saying? Just like the whole unk
Absolutely.
now. If you're not Black, you're not no unk fam. If you're not Black, you're not a YN. First of all, I can say the N word, so like I don't even know why we doing that. But like I was saying about the renegade dance, Leia Harmon went viral on TikTok like some years
Oh.
back, right? I don't remember what year it was. Everybody was doing that dance, that little weird, you know what I'm saying? Young
Hmm.
folks dance weird now. It's like choreography. Anyway, you know what I'm saying? But So basically, it wasn't really until people like started actually calling out the erasure that she finally got credit. Some random white girl got to go do basically on a whole press tour, going to all these shows and some more shit
Oh
behind,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying, that viral dance that she didn't even create. And at this point, you know what I'm saying, it's a pattern, right? This ain't a glitch. This ain't a one-off situation. It's literally a pattern of we create something, people call it dumb until their favorite Caucasian gets a hold to it, and now all of a sudden it's the best thing since sliced bread. And now nobody has the same respect, or it's okay to share culture. You know what I'm saying? Nobody, a dance doesn't belong to anybody, and it's like it doesn't. People don't look at it as appropriating when it comes to Black people, right? It's like you respect everybody else's culture and everybody else's things, but ours. And people feel like, especially American folks, feel like they're entitled to the things that we produce, and it's very frustrating.
I definitely agree with you. Also to the extent that when you start talking about the profitability of how people move around our culture, and I think when we look historically, people feel like because of the plight of Black Americans from slavery on here, how do we identify what's Black, right? Other than what we do. And I think for some people that's not enough, right? For
Mm.
that to be what the culture is built around. And then also recognizing, we're not a monolith, right?
Right.
Or there is no homogenous way to identify, quote unquote, what we do. I
Agreed.
think I think those kind of like nuances contribute to why people be acting like they don't know what Black culture is, even though they know what Black culture is. If that makes sense.
Yeah, they absolutely know. They absolutely know.
Yeah.
But I think they blur the lines on purpose. You know what I'm saying?
But profitability wise, I think there's also this thing of we don't think about how to make the most of the things we do. They just things that we do. Other people see that and be like, that's worth $1 million. That's worth, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know how to reconcile that, right? Because I don't necessarily think we should be looking at ourselves and through the lens of capitalist exploits or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I think we should do what we do because we like it, we love it. You know what I'm saying? It
And that's
does
what
something
we've
for
been
our
doing.
spirit,
Yeah.
right? But also because we live in a capitalistic society, it's almost this question of like, how do I figure out how to capitalize on myself before somebody else comes and capitalizes off of me? If that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yep. For sure. For sure. Yeah, not and that's a very good point though. I just don't think that's our mindset, and we never know what's actually going to catch on and what's not because, like you said in the beginning, these are things we've been doing. We've been doing essentially forever. Like even when it comes to no cap, right? Capping is not a new
Mm,
word. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to punk and all that other stuff, that's literally just how we talk. How do you know like what's going to catch on when it's something we've been doing forever? You know what I'm
forever.
saying? So it's hard for us to even pinpoint what parts of our culture or what parts of our day to day our outsiders gonna see and want to grab a hold to because it's like we've been doing the thing, you've been seeing us do the thing, and it's like okay, so when are you like pinpointing when and who and how, like all of the things is kind of difficult. You know what I'm saying? You just never know what's gonna catch on, and most of the time it's some old shit anyway.
For real. That's real. And I say that as a content creator because I've been viral a few times, but it ain't never off the things that I think is going to be off, you know what I'm saying, from the
Never.
traffic. It's never, and you never know when and how far it's going to go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All you know is shit. I'm going to just be consistent. I'm going to keep on, I'm going to keep on
Yeah.
posting and
See
putting it
what
out
jump.
there. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
let's also not forget, social media, it deletes history real fast. You know what I'm saying? So as quick as one trend comes and goes, the next is, right there. And so the concept of remembering
Hmm.
and the ancestral call of that, for me, we got to do more remembering than reposting.
Oh, for
And
sure.
that's
For sure.
the that's the part for me that makes it very intentional about what do I put on my social media and how does that actually reflect my values in real life, right?
Mhm.
Am I willing to just post some shit so I can get some clicks and some likes, and some
Yeah.
traffic, or am I willing to take a longer ride because I actually want it to be authentic?
Right. But I think that's hard for any content creator, right? And then, like I said, as a Black person, how do you know what a person's going to resonate with? Because there are certain things that are staples to Black culture regardless, right? We're not a monolith, but there are like recurrent themes all throughout. So, or just like even now, like line dancing. We from Arkansas. Like I've been line dancing my whole
All my
life type
life.
time. And now it's like it didn't like
And
literally in
the
Oakland.
trail ride done caught on now. You know what I'm
You see
saying?
what I'm saying? And that's something I went mudding and
We've been
stuff like
mudding
when
and
I was
all the
little. Like that's
things.
that's just what we do type time. Like, and so it's yes, remember, but I think we're currently living it. You know what I'm saying? Most of us are currently living it. So for the most part, we're just recording history to a degree, right? Yes, we're reposting, but I think once the things that we do leave our culture and our circle of influence, that's when it starts to change up and it starts to look like just posting things for clicks and likes. And rage baiting is a thing too, and it gets you money. So it is what it is. I'm gonna give a couple of facts real quick, couple of little quick stats. So 75% of TikTok creators under the age of 25 say that their content ideas are borrowed from Black creators. You know what I'm saying? And
Borrow.
yeah, borrowed, right? And then there's back in 2021, it was a whole strike. When Black folks was refusing to like choreograph anything else, and when we stopped dancing on the app for a minute, you know what I'm saying? Because of the
I
lack of
do
credit we were
remember.
getting for the stuff that we were doing and making popular. And it was so crazy because I remember during that time, Thought Shit came out, right? Megan Thee Stallion. And she, hands on my knees, shaking ass on my thigh shit. And it was so crazy how like there were so many white girls and white women making like dances to that song, and all of them literally had their hands in the air, and Black people were like, the instructions are literally in the song. Hands on my knees. It's literally in the song. How are you messing that up? Like that,
But
like
too
you
bad I can't show you.
right. Too bad I can't show no
We're being
sucks to
entertained
suck.
right
You know
now.
what I'm saying? But no. And then also the term digital blackface, right? It has over 10 million views on TikTok because that's what a lot of this stuff is. A lot of these things, some of your favorite creators steal from Black folks. That's just what they do.
Period.
And it's extremely unfortunate. Even one of the more popular trad wife content creators, Nara Smith, like she got caught up stealing from a dark skinned Black woman, stole her whole vibe. You know what I'm saying? And so like it's frustrating, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's kind of like what the Whine is, right? For tonight's episode. The Whine essentially is that people remixing our culture and then trying to say that it's not our culture and that it doesn't belong to us. And it's extremely frustrating. And so now we got to move on to the sipper spit. So the sipper spit for tonight is basically like, is social media, is it helping to preserve Black culture? Or is it basically turning it into fast food?
I'm a spit because it's definitely micro. It's giving microwave. It's giving fast food. It's giving. I want it hot and ready. And I think our stories deserve more. They like soul food. They gotta cook a little bit. They gotta be passed down. They gotta be seasoned with memory. Right. Those are the details that make it something that's worth talking about and worth remembering and worth continuing to draw the circle wider around. I have seen some storytelling projects, right? Like you have a lot of organizations now that use digital storytelling as a way to promote their mission or promote their causes. And I've seen media used in good ways in that way, right? To tell the story of the organization, right? A lot of times the people who founded it, you know what I'm saying? All that. And then you've got on social media different pages that are just dedicated to the We Are Not Them page that just goes through history, you know what I'm saying, like some of your Black history pages, the Black archives, and I think some of those creators have used their platforms in ways that are very meaningful and thoughtful. But most of us on the average, on the everyday Joe Schmo, nah, man, we just on here
Fucking
what they
off.
call it,
Yep.
doom scrolling and appealing and focusing on things that really just appeal to our senses. And that's what we be wanting more of, hot and ready. You know what I'm saying? Not the things that are deep and that make us feel and make us think and actually,
Yeah.
meaningful, matter.
Yeah.
We
No,
use
and
social
I
media
feel
to
you.
divest
So
from things that matter.
Yeah, right. So, but you brought up a good point. So, I'ma say, so you said, spit microwave culture, right? So, I'ma say sip. If, like you said, we using these platforms to like archive and not just perform and not just be entertained, right? So, like the moment we prioritize virality, right, over values, we have officially lost the plot. You know what I'm saying?
Period.
Like it's funny to say we losing recipes, but no, we really are.
Period.
Just like, and look, and this might sound controversial. People might be mad at me, but I think Zeus Network is the devil, and and also the whole 20v1 pop the balloon, like that.
These are
Don't
like
give me like, hey,
children
get
of
your money
oxygen.
though. You know what I'm saying? Get your money, I guess. However, I think that's probably one of the worst uses of, you know what I'm saying,
A
content when it comes
platform.
to Black
Yeah.
culture, in the things. I think that's that microwave. We want to be entertained. There's nothing here. There's no nutritional value to me consuming this particular media. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think we've kind of lost the plot a little bit when it comes to the things that we consume and the things that we produce as content creators, as Black content creators.
Yeah. So final answer. Um, spit with caution or sip with caution.
Mm.
One of them. But do whatever you're gonna do with caution, because the algorithm ain't our elder. It's a business, and that's the part that we got to remember about it.
And also, the internet never forgets. So be mindful what you do for clicks and views, and be mindful of like the legacy and the footprint that you leave behind, because your kids and their kids are going to have access to the things that you've produced, and you have to be responsible for the content that you create and what you put out there in the world, right? And whether or not you're preserving culture through the content that you make. And it's important to carry yourself in a way you want to be remembered, and that includes social media. You know what I'm saying? And so when it comes to that, use it, but don't let it use you.
Period. Period. I'll sip to that.
All right. So now I guess the time for the teachable toast. So what do we do with this, right? So how do you feel like we reclaim storytelling, protect what's sacred in the digital space?
I think we got to get back to more storytelling. And part of that is remembering the oral traditions that we come from, right? We can use our platforms to literally have intergenerational conversations, bring in our elders, actually document the things, the traditions that are woven into the life of our people. One of the things that I appreciate about TikTok is that they have a genuine community of hoodoo practitioners that get together and they catalog their knowledge, and they will hop in the comments and they will correct you if you wrong. They will, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like they are literally using social media in order
Yeah.
to be able to preserve the practice and the traditions of the elders and folks who are engaging in being practitioners. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, is we got to start telling the stories that the algorithms overlook, right? And be okay telling those stories, even if they don't get all the clicks, likes, and views.
True.
And then also using podcast and blogging, other ways of using media in order to be able to archive stories,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we can do a better job of that. And I actually think being intentional about that will help heal other things in our community too. Right. Especially if we start talking about intergenerational conversations, being able to actually include our elders in this new digital age,
Mm-hmm.
teaching them how it works, but also where the value is of incorporating their voices, right? I seen
Mm-hmm.
this there's a chick on Instagram who she does these radical photo shoots with her grandma where she dress her up with all the jewelry. Like I know one of them, she had on a big old rope chain and some door knocker earrings with a windbreaker suit. She was out in the
Man.
field. She was out in the field, you hear me? Like literally nothing but land and acres. And so like things like that
That's
is
cool.
dope to me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, just reimagining new ways to be able, like I said, to bring us together, but also to be able to tell those stories.
Yeah, I do think social media, I think is there's the assumption that it's for young content creators and things like that, or for young folks. I do think if you can get your granny or your aunties to tell a story, get them in front of a camera and do the thing and create some very insightful and valuable content using our elders. I know a lot of them aren't privy to using technology in that way or being on social media, but I think we could all benefit from them sharing their stories and their experiences and their advice. Just
I
like
have a
even
technical issue happening, so I'm gonna fix
okay,
it. Keep talking. I'm listening.
I
Y'all, if you
got
see me floundering around, okay, I want y'all to know what's happening, okay? Because we cannot, the show must go on.
period. But yeah, as I was saying, so just like at the brunch that we hosted, right? There were people from different age groups there, and I thought that was like a beautiful thing to be able to have, an elder in the mix, having conversations about things like relationships, success, what happiness looks like for you, what does freedom look like for you, and to talk about like navigating changing work environments, retirement. What does it really look like to actually retire? Or even, the modern dating scene. We had all these conversations and we got to have it in real time, what I'm saying, with somebody, with multiple people from different generations. And I think it was a beautiful thing. You know what I'm saying? I think it's something that we should do more often. And I think we got to start getting our elders accustomed to using social media. And I think we could all benefit from that. All right, we back. We had some technical difficulties real quick, but it's all good. So I was talking about, just kind of wrapping up, talking about, our ancestors and things like that, and kind of go and get your granny on TikTok, go and get her a channel, get granny monetized real fast.
Period.
So, what are some other things that we can do in order to, reclaim that storytelling and stuff?
Follow and fund Black memory keepers, not just the ones that are on social media and online. I'm thinking I had mentioned earlier Black Archives. You also have Black Library, BLK Library, Black Art Story, but also like find out who is transcribing and cataloging and archiving stories in your community and support those organizations too.
Mm,
I know here in Little Rock, my organization, the Alternative Tribe, we do storytelling projects with elders, specifically connecting 12 to our young people to elders, right? So they can sit and they can hear some of the stories
oh,
about these places that they be around that they don't know any of the historical relevance of, right? But
that's
also
awesome.
places like the Village Place, who does historical tours and then brings the elders in to go on the trips and the tours to talk to the young people. Who else? Somebody might even say the Central High Historic Commission, right? Like find the places that are preserving
Yeah,
stories. Even your Herm Fine Art Pyramid Bookstore, right? It's one location. It's a art gallery, a bookstore, and a historical staple all in one, right? Because a lot of their artwork and their books are rooted in community and being able to share the stories of what's actually around here, specifically like in the Wright Avenue area, which is, we call it historic Wright Avenue, but it's changing, right? And so the other thing is, as we
yeah,
recognize that things are changing really fast, and I'm speaking specifically about real estate right now, right? Like the landscape of the places that we live, buildings are being knocked down. Places that once had like real cultural significance for our communities, they're not there no
hmm
more. Right. And so also being able to say what once stood, what once was, and being able to
yeah,
share those stories. There's a resource, Wayward
and that's
Lives.
important for social media too.
Absolutely. Yeah, cuz the other thing that's happening with education is that there is basically a systemic pathway to erase history as we know it, right? And
Yes.
so somebody else has to begin to tell those stories, recognizing that it's not going to come through our major education systems. I was even looking at some colleges who were retracting majors in like history and certain specific
hmm
histories. I was about to say, I think I even seen geology on one of them, and I remember reading in the comments, somebody's like,
Yep,
"Damn, what the
yeah.
earth do?"
Geology was definitely one of
They was like, "Damn, what the
crazy.
earth do? What the rocks do? Everything gotta go?" And so we're at this place where
hmm
those of us who have been studying, especially those of us who are scholars, I just want to say shout out to all the teachers out there, all the academians, all the folk who went to school and found it cool to go to school. Okay, start figuring out
Yeah.
how to catalog what you got, figure out how to catalog what you got and how to help give it back to the rest of us, because we need it from all the channels. Like I said, especially now that we know that the system ain't gonna be providing it, whether we talking about on a
hmm
K through 12 level, but also recognizing the jeopardy that even higher education is in now. So yeah,
yeah, that's
protect the
awesome
culture.
though. That's you brought up a Yeah, and you brought up an interesting point when you were talking about the physical landscape, real estate, and things like that, right? So when you make these videos or you make content in these neighborhoods, that's literally like archiving the past, but like in real time, if you know what I'm saying. And then you talked about like the erasure that's happened in these books and things, photographs, videos, and things like that that we have access to through social media is going to be extremely important for getting in contact with or getting in touch with the past in coming years because of how much is being kind of hidden, taken, written, and all of the things. So no, that's a real good point. And
And
then
there's
what else can we do though? Like anything else that'll
I think there's a real conversation about how much what we share and what we keep, right? So I'm also
okay.
of this
I want to
understanding
hear about
like,
that.
the internet is undefeated, and once it's out there, everything is up for consumption. Thinking about the beginning of the conversation when we started about how things get taken from our communities and used, capitalized on, all the things,
Yeah.
what things should be gate kept? I think that's what I'm thinking about. What things do you think we should protect and just not post? You know what I'm saying? For public consumption, things that are still sacred that we want to maintain the integrity of without it being exploited or propagandized in any way. I don't know. I think that's a question that
Yeah.
we need to
I
be
think parts
having
of our
conversations
language,
with our people and
parts of
communities.
our language, like we talked about dances and stuff like that earlier. Or you
Say it again.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And you brought up the hoodoo community earlier. I think some of those rituals and things like that, things are not everything is for everybody, and keeping certain things from the uninitiated, right? I think it's very
Absolutely.
important that
I'm with
you
that. So,
be
yeah.
intentional about the things that you post and the
I think
things that you
asking the question,
record,
is this a
right? Because
share or is this a
everything ain't
ceremony,
for
is a
everybody, and not
good
everything is for
question for
public
assessment,
consumption, and some
right?
stuff's
That
just
way
not
we
for
can
everybody's eyes.
be
Straight up.
intentional, be mindful, but also remember that not everything sacred is meant to be shared.
But yeah, like everything you said was important, and not everything is, meant to be shared. So like you have to ask yourself when you're getting ready to post something and share something, is this something that I should be sharing? Is it something I should hold sacred? Because not everything sacred is meant to trend, y'all. I know a lot of people live for social media, but that's not how we should be moving through the world for real.
Straight up. Well, I'm with it. So I'll toast to this. Here's my toast. May the ancestors be louder than your algorithm.
Yeah, and may your legacy live longer than your likes. So,
Period.
make a toast to
Period.
that. Cheers.
Toast to that.
All right, y'all. So we gotta wrap it up, man. If this episode made you think deeper, laugh louder, or scroll a little differently, go ahead, like, subscribe, and drop us a 5-star review. Throw us in the group chat.
Come on, talk to your yeah, all your home girls, your homeboys. Start the arguments, do
Relatives.
the things. Next week we getting into another hot topic. I want to say we talking about black luxury and being broke at the same time. Yeah, so you
Probably.
definitely gonna want to hop
Yep, that
in.
corner and that afterpay got y'all in a chokehold.
Priorities. We gonna get into it though. We
Mm-hmm.
got to do more than just look good out here. We can't just look like we got it. We got to actually have
Period.
it. So if you want to hop in that conversation, by all means, listen to this one and get ready for the next one. Can't wait to see y'all. As always, get what you need always and then always.
And do something today to benefit your future self. Meet me in the future, y'all.
Peace.